segues will be really smooth, and yeah, I'm like segue king, to be honest. I'm like the best.
You are?
Yeah.
It's good to be king of something, right? Let's get rolling.
Yeah, we're officially rolling. Brian, episode 3. Good to have you back, man. Seriously.
Good to be back, man.
Been an awesome weekend, a hot weekend up in the studio,
hot, man.
but I know it's crazy. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. Like 2 minutes before we started rolling, Brian's like, "Can we cool back on the cussing this episode?"
That, yeah.
He did say that, but no, man. Always happy to have you. Obviously, Brian's our business partner and super knowledgeable on the technical aspects of the industry as well.
I try.
Yep. So
yeah, it was a hot weekend, man.
Crazy.
I live in Houston, so I tried to escape the humidity and the heat, but I failed.
Right, I know that's the main
90s.
thing up here.
It's like 90s but it's not usually like that. Like I was looking at the forecast next week, and it goes down to
it's gonna
70s.
rain and stuff. Yeah,
dude. Some states are like 115 right now. You seen
but
this
they're not
heat wave?
humid.
Right, it's dry.
Like
heat.
Arizona.
Yeah,
you can wear jeans and 100 out there.
That's the difference, is that we've got crazy humidity up here right now. But yeah, dry heat's a lot more bearable. Let's dive right into just some recent state of the industry, some things that we've observed and experienced recently, namely like releases, website changes, stuff like that. I want to talk about a big thing that I've noticed, which is that many people have noticed, which is basically that the entire sneaker reselling industry, as far as like people going for, general bulk releases, trying to hit bulk pairs, is heavily reliant, if not completely reliant, on Yeezy supply. Which is, people aren't hitting clips like that on Shopify, Foot Sites, or any of the above anymore.
For sure.
So Yeezy supply is like the last hurrah for a lot of resellers to hit bulk, which is scary because I feel like as far as sneaker resellers, which is scary because I feel like it's just a matter of time until they clip bulk too. We've seen 3DS. I know like the Adidas Secure app. They're definitely, they're pushing for more.
Secure, you mean confirmed?
Confirmed app. They're pushing for more confirmed releases just via app.
That just reminds me of sneakers. I think that's going to be the direction they're heading, man.
Right, exactly.
I just don't see YS maintaining this state that they're at right now. I mean, just with all retailers, shoes and cards alike, like the companies are just, for whatever reason, a reason that I strongly disagree with, they're just like becoming super anti-reseller, and anything they can do to try and limit like pairs, like a bulk amount of pairs from getting into the hands of one person, they're going to do it. You know?
Right, exactly.
And YS, you're right, is like the last place where you can really do that if you're like a competitive botter, I would say. I mean, you'll see people post clips of like, 1,000 dunks on Foot Sites or something, but like how many of those are actually getting shipped?
I would say for your normal industry reseller that doesn't have tens of thousands of dollars to drop on a certain release or month or whatever, someone that doesn't own companies in the industry, doesn't own a proxy company. I think for just your average reseller that's in a, just doing it for, in a very normal sense, as we would classify, I think that Yeezy Supply is like really the last one, because normal dudes aren't really hitting clips on Foot Sites anymore. You have to have a very specialized setup. The
guys that are getting a lot of pairs like in hand, they have tons of addresses and like a very sophisticated way of circumventing the payment verification emails and all the cancels.
Right.
But Yeezy Supply, for the most part, if you get a charge in an email, you can count on that shipping.
You're getting
They're
that
not
pair.
going to cancel the order.
Exactly.
Right? And it's the only site left that would, I would say, really do that.
Right.
Shopify, no way.
They don't care.
Foot
They'll
Sites,
cancel.
no way.
Yep.
Nike, good luck even getting that.
Right. Yeah, good luck getting multiples.
Right.
Yeah. It's crazy. Do you think that Adidas confirmed that? But like, do you think that they ultimately want to get all of their Yeezy releases and stuff on there? Or do you think they... First come, first serve is pretty engaging. That's the I always come back to that. Like, I think of, I compare Union's original release compared to this recent raffle release. The original release was far more engaging.
Right.
Going to get people to be like, oh, this is a cool store, hit the pair, maybe revisit the web store in the future. Raffles and other things, they're just, I don't know. Do you think that Adidas confirmed that is the future of hyped Yeezy releases?
I can't speak to what like what Adidas wants to do.
Right.
But I mean, just based on the Confirmed app, building up steam now, I think they're doing a lot. I mean, we're seeing a lot more wins on the Confirmed app. They're obviously putting more stock on the Confirmed app. And what is that if not an Adidas sneakers app?
Exactly.
It's the
That's
Nike
literally
equivalent.
what it is.
Or it's the Adidas equivalent of what Nike has.
Yep.
So I can't, I could speculate as to what they want to do. I don't know. We were talking about this earlier today. Like, with certain shoes like 350s, I'm sure they're just like, whatever, just get rid of them. There's 200,000 of them. Just get them out. We don't care if it goes to resellers or not.
Right.
But so I think to some extent they don't care. But based on what I'm seeing with that Confirmed app, it looks like that's where they're going. And the problem is one of, I heard Josh Luber use this term. The guy that he started StockX.
Yep.
Equitable distribution of product. Right. So like they don't want, one person to get, 2-3% of all the product. Right.
Makes no
Which
sense.
is what's happening right now.
Yep.
So I think that's kind of what these companies are going after. That's definitely what Nike went after with the sneakers app. So
yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
In my mind, I think that it's not so much that they just don't want resellers or botters to be taking anything. I just think they want to have absolute control over what shoes go to resellers and botters and what shoes are distributed equitably.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Be able to say if we want to stop the bots, we'll do it.
Because that's exactly
that's
where
what Nike does.
That's where I would say Nike's at. It's like if it's a really hyped Travis release or something like that, Union release dropping via Nike's platform, they stop they stop botters, they stop resellers from getting voluminous amounts of pairs.
Yeah.
But if it's like a Nike GR, like an Air Force or a Mid, we've seen times where they just let it go. They don't filter anything. They just they choose to let botters and resellers get bulk pairs, to push the product. So I think that
I would say it's not so much the case right now. I think Nike's kind of losing the battle because even on some of these really like limited dunk releases they're doing, we're still seeing the bots hit.
Yeah.
Whereas if you go back to the Travis ones,
there was
no bots worked.
None.
Right.
That's true.
But I don't know,
Didn't they make a change? Didn't Nike make a big change?
They did. They added new
I don't know
bot
anything
protection.
about it. You want to talk?
I don't really know much about it either.
Okay.
But they added some sort of addition to the browser, and I know that it was kind of an unfamiliar form of bot protection, so a lot of people weren't prepared for it. And typically like when you're looking at sites and they're adding bot protection, they'll add some sort of industry staple like Akamai or Perimeter X or something like that. And most of the bots that are like well informed on this stuff, they already have solutions for that. So it's almost a plug and play, problem solved, right?
Right.
But I think they added some form of different protection. And I know a lot of people were like, I don't know what this is. I don't know how to solve it. A lot of people in some of the Discords were like trying to buy solutions for it.
What's the name? Do you know the name
I
of
think it starts with a K. No, I should have looked it up. But
no, it's all good.
The thing is, most of the good Nike bots nowadays, as far as I know, they just use browsers. Like when TSB was doing so well, it was just a ton of browsers, right? So that, in theory, should handle some of that if it's done correctly, if the browser's configured correctly. Should be able to adapt, right?
That makes sense.
I mean, you remember like when you would start up TSB, you'd put in 100 accounts, it'd fire up those 100 accounts, and it would go in like, you'd start it in like waves, and so it would load up a browser for each task and get it to the point where it was like ready to click pay. Right. Once the product was live.
That makes sense.
So, that was working for a while. I think this new edition is an attempt to kind of combat that, but at the end of the day, if you're going to use a browser and you know enough about Chrome and you configure it correctly, like they're not going to be able to stop that.
Interesting. I was over here and you talked the other day just about how much manipulation you can do within a Chrome browser, Chrome window. You can just do so much. You can really.
Well, there's very common like browser automation frameworks out there. Like there's one called Selenium. There's one called Puppeteer. There's a new one called Playwright. But they're easily detectable unless you know what you're doing.
Okay.
You can make changes to the browser, and I'm no professional on this because I've never personally done it, but I know like, I would say like MechPream, for example, I know they use browsers for Supreme.
Yeah.
Supreme,
but they have a very special browser configuration, I would say, and someone's probably going to see this and be like, I don't know what I'm talking about, maybe. But I know for a fact that like you can't just fire up, like just take one of these browser frameworks out of the box, fire it up, and try and run it on Supreme. They'll block that. They're able to detect that.
Right.
You have to actually go in there and make it look like it's a standalone Chrome browser that a user is controlling and stuff. And I mean, there's also the fact of like, TSB I mean, you could see it actually going through and clicking these things, right?
Yeah.
But most good bot protection these days, they're able to track mouse movements, mouse clicks.
Yep.
So you have to have a way of making it look like there's a human moving the mouse, right? And a lot of the times you need AI to do that.
Right, because it's got to be random mouse movements. It can't just be the same pattern.
There's really two ways. Yeah. We're kind of getting off topic here, but like
I'm into it.
there's two ways. Like when we're talking about mouse movements, it's a big problem for anti-bot and people trying to defeat anti-bot, because like Akamai is very good with mouse movements. Shape Security, very good with mouse movements.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll take these coordinates from your browser and plot them and be able to measure, is this a human or not?
They know where your mouse should be moving, where the average human on that page is moving their mouse, right? Like,
there just has to be a degree of randomness to it, I would say. I think that's the solution. And so I've looked into it, and there's really two ways I've found it. And the easy way is to use like a math-based approach. A lot of people use a math-based approach because it's much faster.
Yeah.
You know, you can just run a function that generates some sort of math formula that
randomizes.
that can make a graph that looks fairly human-like, right?
Yeah.
But when you get to the higher levels, they're able to after enough of that is used, these anti-bots like Akamai, for example, they rely on like pattern recognition.
Yeah.
So eventually they're able to recognize that pattern, their AI is. And so people that really know what they're doing, they have some sort of AI or real human data that they're using to combat that. Right. So that it doesn't generate a pattern. Right.
That's next level, dude.
That's really like in Perimeter X is another one. I mean, I'm going all over the place here, but like Perimeter X, like it's pattern recognition. I mean, most bots that handle Perimeter X, they usually need to make significant changes. If they have their own API, they're making changes constantly because eventually, given enough data, the back end of some of these services, they're going to recognize the pattern, whatever it is, and they'll lock onto it and say...
Is that why the more users, the worse, kind of?
For sure. The more data they have to work with. Yeah,
that makes sense.
100%. Yeah. That's why the problem of Akamai is like, I mean, you can make a very simple Akamai cookie generator very easily, and you can generate good cookies.
Yeah.
You try scaling that to 10, 20, 100, 1,000 users, the game changes completely.
Different beast, exactly.
Completely.
Just you're pretty good.
Yeah. And that's where anti-bots that's their bread and butter, I mean, like, they can track whatever they want, but at the end of the day, it's like, do they have good pattern recognition?
Right.
To be able to recognize, like, okay, this is looking fishy.
Yeah.
Right?
And I don't think that's off topic because, I mean, it really is relevant to these websites changing and making updates, man. Like, the industry is changing. Nike, I remember I used to look up. I was never like a big Nike botter. You guys, I looked up to both of you guys. I remember you guys hitting clips on Nike on like the old Sakai.
I was a beast on Nike.
Yeah.
He told me how to
brag
do it.
about that.
Yeah.
And then I hit Sakai's, and then they like clipped it.
Yeah.
That was like
right after Sakai's.
Yep.
I used to be. It was B&B for me. I never got into the new wave of the stuff. Because it really became about like your accounts and stuff.
Yeah.
Nike has just such a weird way of picking winners and stuff, and it clearly doesn't work, right? Because people using TSB or like this new bot Enigma can obviously secure 20, 30 pairs. So whatever they're doing, I don't think it's working very well. It doesn't have a very good success rate for them. But I would say too, like, Nike deploying that is definitely big. I think a lot of bots had to adapt to that. I would say the way I think good bots, the way that they conquer this kind of stuff, and you'll see it. Like, I think Dash, for example, is a good example. I can't remember if it's deployed right now, but like they'll add a script to their like website, like Dash's website or like the KSR website, that just collects human data. And they'll store that in a database, and they'll use that for their generation.
Didn't Project Destroyer do that
PD
one time?
was doing that.
Yeah, I remember
they'll
that.
do a restock or something, and
Yeah.
they'll put like 2 copies up. But what you don't see is that they have like 20 scripts that are just like
kinds of data.
just cleaning your browser of data.
that.
And
Maybe
stuff,
that's why bots are doing the 1-2 copy restocks. That's
I don't
an
know,
interesting theory.
I
No,
just
that's
remember
funny though.
There was a PD
It was
restock
PD.
a few months ago, and I was like inspecting the requests and stuff, and I was like, they're collecting a ton of data.
Yeah.
And they're
Which I'm fine with that. It's
right, because
good
they're
for the
using
industry.
it for their users
It's
and for
nothing.
their software.
This isn't like privacy. Well, I don't know. I think Chrome is configured good enough to kind of stop a lot of that stuff. But it's mouse movements.
Yeah.
It's things like your user agent, which kind of defines what version of Chrome, what type of browser you're running, your resolution, stuff like that. Your network connection. What's the bandwidth looking like?
It makes sense. I mean, if they're getting that amount of traffic on their website, why would they not,
Yeah, and
utilize?
you just continuously replenish that data so it's always fresh human data. If you have a system like that to continually mine and replenish human data like that,
Yeah.
you should have no problem with anti-bot for the most part, as long as you can effectively figure out what each one is doing.
Yeah.
You've got the data to be able to mock
That's crazy.
solutions. Yeah, so
Let's circle back to there's a really good contrast between Union, like last Union Jordan 4s and these Union Jordan 4s. We touched on it super briefly, but in general, like, what a disaster, dude. Because during the time of recording this, the dust is starting to settle from a bunch of people that bought raffle wins and then got canceled, and it's a huge topic of conversation right now. And frankly, it sucks because I think that a lot of people, both resellers, normal customers, sneakerheads, like a lot of people hit the last Union drop, and it was a pretty enjoyable experience. Now they didn't have this during the last Union drop, but now they have the smart queue, that like smart Shopify queue that basically lets you know if you're wasting your time or not. Like, is that size out of stock?
Yeah.
How many times how many minutes do you have to wait still?
not always accurate, but yeah.
Not always accurate, but like
Yeah.
way better for the customer experience.
I like
it.
I like it a lot.
JM Win left. Bodega botched their drop. Union saw that. Probably was like, pass. We're gonna raffle.
JM Win was still there for that drop, though, I think.
Bodega.
Well, wasn't he there for? Wasn't the
He's not
Amon
leaving till
Manier?
July.
He was there for Manir.
He's not leaving till July, though, I think. But I,
think-
don't know. Maybe he wasn't hands-on or something.
Right?
I
Maybe
don't
he
know.
wasn't directly
Or like we were
overseeing it.
saying, they don't want to pay Shopify to do something for them if they have to pay.
Let's be honest, though. I mean, Bodega,
Awful
they're
drop.
they're no Union. You
No,
know?
it's definitely
Let's
not.
take a
They're
look at
not.
Bodega collabs here. Outside of
trash
that
compared
first
to
New
Union.
Balance they did on the network app, like
Yep.
most of them have been kind of janky.
I agree.
Yeah.
These yeah, dude.
But
Union.
overall, Shopify drops have been awful.
Yeah.
The past few.
Amon
Yeah.
Manier's been. Amon Manier was good.
It was good.
Manier was good, yeah.
Yeah.
Other ones that people hit manually, undefeated. A lot of people hit manually. But I think
Yeah.
that's mostly because of how
That
many
was a
pairs
weird
there
one. There
were.
was a lot of
There's
pairs.
a,
Ton
that's
of
why
pairs.
everyone hit manually. It was
Yeah.
so
There's a lot
easy,
of
dude.
pairs.
I think I hit like 15 minutes after they went live. Literally.
I mean, they didn't even.
Yeah.
People bought it that, right? Like,
Yeah.
they didn't even really. do a
No,
whole
yeah,
lot.
I wouldn't even consider
Yeah,
that a
it wa-
special thing.
yeah,
by
it
any
wasn't.
means,
It was just
you
a
know?
collaborative big Shopify release that there was a lot of success on. Yeah, no, it's interesting though.
I don't know why Union
wait,
did that.
me
I mean,
neither.
it's
It
just-
kinda
Did you
sucks.
guys? Did yours ship? I don't think mine have even shipped.
I don't think mine have shipped either. I don't,
Like, now that I think about it.
No,
I don't keep tabs on that kind of stuff though.
I don't
Yeah.
know why Union did that either, especially because they were like they held the bar. They were like the
They
golden
kinda set the
standard.
bar,
They did
right?
set the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with all of these website changes, we've seen some changes in just the aftermarket prices and like the bot market. Mm-hmm. So I had written down bot market crash or correction, right? That we've seen people are calling it like the great bot recession of 2021. Like people
Right.
are memeing it and stuff like that. But I believe that there's a lot of variables. I don't think that we can paint this with a broad brush because
We
like
could talk about this for the whole episode.
right,
There's
because
of
like a
content
lot
there.
of bot prices are they're not mutually exclusive. Maybe one bot's holding steady, another one's completely crashed. There's a lot of variables. So
Right.
in general, a few things like, bot flippers, performance, supply and demand, people exiting the
Yeah, I
industry,
think exiting is the biggest.
exiting the
One of them.
industry. Yeah, so I think
think
just
so?
Yeah, we don't have that influx now. We actually probably have a net neutral or negative of people leaving.
Leaving.
Resellers
Sneaker,
just quitting bots
sneaker
and stuff.
botting at least.
right, selling
Now
selling
they're
their
reselling
bots.
other stuff.
Yep.
GPUs or
Well, we're
cards
talking
or
about bots
something
in
different.
general, I would say, right?
It
We're
is-
focusing on sneaker
Well,
bots
bots
here.
in general are down
True,
right now.
yeah.
Sneaker bots are some of the most expensive with
Yeah.
like Prism and stuff like that. So
I would just say as a
Prism
whole, the market is not doing well. If we're talking about
Yes.
sneaker bots, like I mean,
There's
we already
many
said
markets
this.
doing poorly.
There's just not.
Yep.
I mean, like the shoe market aside, like value sneakers.
Yep.
There's just not a lot of sites where you're gonna make your money back.
right on a $6,000 bot.
Right.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
just talked about this. YS is like the only one left. I mean,
Right.
yeah, you'll get, there's people getting lucky here or there, but like you don't know what they put into the setup. You don't know how much they invested into that.
Right.
I'd be curious to know, actually, that's a pretty interesting metric. Like, how many people are actually like turning in their bots and being like, I'm done with this.
You
Well,
hear
yeah,
you
you
hear
can-
talk of people quitting.
You
Right.
can make a good amount of money from manualing products.
Yeah.
at this point,
GPUs,
yeah.
I do a
Tickets,
little vinyl
Best
tickets,
Buys,
Yeah.
like all these Mattel, you can do Hot Wheels
Yep.
manually, and There's just a lot of
and
stuff.
they're better than shoes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. Heck, I mean,
Yeah.
even
Easier
sports
and
cards.
better.
If you have solid sports card information, you can hit
Yeah.
several of these websites manually.
And then you have no overhead with your proxies and all that.
Right.
Right.
So you don't have to
Exactly.
worry
The
about it.
sports card market is even down right now, but I would say that's kind of like the
summer lull,
the
kind
glimmering hope of like
yeah,
resell
many
right now.
resellers right
Summer
now.
I
lull.
don't see anything else where you're going to be able to get a 3x or maybe even a 4x margin, which some of these cards you're able to secure that.
Right.
which
There's
is amazing.
very few shoes where you're doing even double.
Very few.
Even double
yeah.
nowadays, let
I mean,
alone
even
4X.
even the Union 4s.
Yep.
That's like a 2x.
Right.
Yeah.
The Moss colorway. I
Yeah.
mean,
There's many markets that are down right now, like tangible goods, like it's obviously like, the crypto market brings
The guy who did the whole thing on the housing market collapse?
Michael Burry.
Burry?
Yeah,
I
he
saw
was
this.
talking about how like there's so many of these bubbles with these product that are just gonna collapse.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I saw that.
There's
I mean,
a
not
lot.
that
There's a
he
lot
knows-
of bubbles. There's bubbles in collectibles.
Yeah.
There was bubbles in certain areas of the sports card hobby. There's bubbles in arguably sneakers. Just a lot of things, right? There was a lot of
Flippers selling to flippers.
yeah, yep. Flippers selling to flippers. Exactly. Just inflating prices. A lot of
Right.
new dollars injected into the economy this year. There's people have more money to spend. So, as a result, bot prices are down right now. Some of that it's just simple supply and demand. There's just
Yeah.
more supply than there is demand on some of these products right now. Some of these bots, there's just a lot of license keys. Obviously, Hunter's a great guy, great friend, and Dash is an amazing bot. There's just a lot of copies out there. So when you see Dash
Yeah.
go from like $1,000 on the aftermarket down to like $300-400 on the aftermarket, like that ought not surprise you. It's there's just a lot. That's a lot of license keys on the aftermarket that are able to be resold, and just simple economics will dictate the prices.
I think people just aren't able. I mean, people I think have viewed it as an investment for a while. And
Yes.
It's like, okay, if I drop $1,000 or $2,000 on this bot, am I going to be able to make my money back?
Yep.
And it's much harder to make your money back
Yeah.
now, and it takes much longer. And
Definitely.
I'm thinking as you're talking, like you made a good point. You just can't broad brush this kind of topic because there's some bots that are still doing pretty well. Right
Yeah,
now.
and
there's
holding in
different
price.
areas. Yeah.
Ganesh comes to mind. They
Yeah.
have that price has barely moved at all.
KSR,
KSR,
so.
exactly. I mean the bots. I mean, frankly,
What's
the
that?
bots that have the bots that have value,
Come on.
like
Come on.
Well, this is what I was going to say. I feel like the bots that really haven't fluctuated in price are the bots where the value was mostly upheld by like successful, real user success, not really manipulated prices, not really able to be flipped by bot flipping groups, manipulated by all these different So the thing is, quick rise, quick fall, right? You see a bot shoot from like $300 to $4,000. Like that bot will, unless it has a track record of consistency, it is going to, it can fall just as quickly, I guess you would say.
Yeah, and I'll be the first one to say too. I think bots in general are, you got to consider the market has just recently kind of taken this downturn. I would say, like the actual reselling market. But I've always been a proponent of I think bots. The retail price of a bot is undervalued.
Yeah.
I think personally. And that's kind of why I decided, I'll just use this as an example. That's kind of, KSR was sort of in beta. We were giving it out for free for a long time. But eventually I had to take a look and say, okay, this is a software that people are just kind of getting as a perk.
Right. It's
And they're making,
value.
this guy made $20,000 this month.
Yep, literally.
Yeah.
That's a huge return.
There's an amazing amount of value.
Right. And I saw a tweet the other day where some guy was saying, why don't bots just adjust their prices to what the resale value is?
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but I think he's kind of right to some extent. I think largely they've been undervalued for a long time. I remember back when Cyber was it was long ago when Cyber was doing so well, and it was like $60 every 6 months.
Right.
Or something.
Yes.
It's like that's so cheap.
Right.
And they only had 2,000 users.
Yep.
And
their net revenue, it's just not
some of these
equivalating to
developers
how
are
much
putting in so much time and effort, man, and it's just
and paying their teams exceptionally well. This is
you don't factor in what they're paying for the development work if they're outsourcing it, what they're paying for their server costs, which server costs are usually pretty low for this type of stuff, I would say, if you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But still, man, the work that it takes to remain on top of your game, like with this type of industry, these guys are on point at all times.
Right.
You know, if something breaks, you just never know. It's entirely dependent on what the platform sites that they're supporting decide to do, right?
Yes.
So,
and that's the thing. Like, there's that old like famous saying, like, take what you think I make, divide it in 2, now divide it in 4. I feel like that's kind of the story for a lot of these bot companies. People just assume, and don't get me wrong, people are doing exceptionally well. People are going to retire out of this industry, and I'm all for it. I love it. But, like, you know, some of these bot developers that these companies are having to bring on, you know, are the wages that they demand or require are insane. Like, they'll blow your mind how much some of these devs are getting paid. So the renewal, the cyber renewal price is a great example. The $60 every 6 months. Like, what if cyber needed to bring on a whole team of new developers to keep up with website changes? That's $60 every 6 months is just simply not going to cover that.
Well, they doubled it, you know, when they went to 4.0,
which was necessary and the right move.
But I really liked, I mean, at first I was kind of taken aback by it, but when Rush came out and they were like $100 a month, and everyone was like, that's outrageous. It's like, man, if you know what you're doing, like at the time, you know, like I said, reselling market aside, it's kind of down right now. You know, we just said that, but at the time it was like, if you know what you're doing, you can make that back in one drop.
Right.
Thing, you know, but I totally approved of that. I was like, hell yeah, I think that's a great move, you know?
Definitely. Yeah, I think it's really interesting just seeing the sneaker Twitter companies, whether it's like bots, groups, other services within the community really just adapt over the last year specifically, but a couple of years. Some people, I had wrote down a couple people I just wanted to like shout out and mention briefly, people that have that I look up to that have specifically taken sneaker Twitter success and translated that into like non-sneaker Twitter companies that are doing immensely well. One dude that's still he's crushing and still on the come up, Phil Jackson with Lost Files. He's the man. So he's a little bit different, just because, you know, Phil, it's not like he owned a bot company or sneaker Twitter company and then translate that into Lost Files. But Phil's the man because he went from literally just reselling like GFNF member, like just active reseller in groups running bots, to, hey, I'm gonna come up with a cool product and I have a vision for a cool brand and I'm gonna do it and love it and see if I can sell it. And lo and behold, it's hitting. Like Lil Yachty posted a video of his new song on Instagram wearing Phil's shorts and other big names. Been some like NBA players pictured in his shorts. So really, really dope. Shout out to him. We actually hope to have him on the podcast sometime this summer. He seems like a great guy.
I love his stuff.
That'd be
I
awesome.
got it.
Yeah,
I
man.
sent him back a pair for some NBA dude.
Oh, really?
I actually didn't need them because I needed larges.
Okay.
I bought larges, extra larges to figure out what fit.
Yeah.
And then he said on Twitter, like, I need some XLs for some NBA dude.
Okay.
I was like, you can have mine back 'cause I don't need them.
Nice.
So he's definitely got some people that are rocking his stuff.
That's sick, dude.
Yeah.
I got to get a pair of these, man.
Right?
Yeah, they're
I know
sweet.
he's gonna.
Phil Jackson, hook it up. Hook it up.
I know when he comes out, he plans to. So yeah.
His corduroy hats are
Make
sick
it happen.
too.
Yeah, the corduroy
Actually
hats.
inspiring one of our hats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Corduroy's
awesome, man.
sick.
Alex Borrow is the other guy. I've looked out the Borrow for a long time, man. Like, shout out to him. I've never actually, you know, talked to him like one-on-one on a phone call, or like I don't know him on a personal level like that, but just observing, when I first entered the industry, he was one of the big names that was already like prevalent. You know, everyone knew who Borrow was, Borrow accounts, Borrow proxies, and he's crushing. I mean, he's a big name. He does volume. He helps a lot of people in the industry. People respect him. He's got a lot of connections. But I say all that to say he translated that, and he started a company. Originally, I want to say he called it Quick Talk, and then changed the name to Quick Place. I've obviously never used it, but my understanding, it's essentially a platform to connect brands, companies that are wanting to market their products with TikTok influencers. Right. It's like a hub to connect them in an extremely efficient way via category and you know what type of content they're creating, and it's dope. I mean, talk about a scalable business model. That just the innovation.
Surprised he was kind of you were saying earlier he was like the first person to kind of make something like this.
Literally one of the first to come up with, if not the
surprising.
first to come up with a way to connect brands to influencers on
like
TikTok.
Instagram
Everything.
and stuff, I'm sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. Yeah, he's really sharp. So I love seeing that ambition, that entrepreneurial ambition. I feel like that's gonna impact so many people in the industry are gonna go on to be doing cool things.
You mentioned Boro because like
yeah.
I always thought that was like a scam, man.
Oh, really?
I think a lot of people that are watching this would probably agree. Like when you're talking about like Boro accounts,
I've used them. Yeah,
people were always like, yeah, those are terrible. You know, or like they're not good. You know, or, I mean, I personally, I can't.
It's been a long time
since I've had any personal experience, but I just follow like word of mouth, and I know people always said it was kind of like low quality. Mm-hmm. He did develop a solution. I think it was probably prior to what we're talking about now, but I know he developed like almost like a CAPTCHA AI solution.
Really?
Yeah, because
I
had a
see
few
him
people
say
that wanted KSR to hook up to his product.
Okay.
I don't know what it's doing now. It was kind of in beta last time I was checking, but it was called Poseidon.
Okay.
And it was basically like a AYCD auto solve AI. So basically, you know, you would just ping his service and he would solve the CAPTCHA for you quickly with AI.
Yeah.
So it seemed, you know.
That's cool.
But yeah, he's
smart.
Talk about Boro. I think he's kind of had his hand in everything, you know.
He's a real entrepreneur.
Been around for a long time too. You're right. But I remember when I was doing like Nike botting, like people would look for accounts, and everyone was like Boro accounts, like trash.
Because I remember that too. Because at the time, that's when Nike botting would I would say was bigger. You know what I mean? More people in the industry were doing it because it was more successful. And Boro, I guess you could say Boro accounts were similar to like the Oculus proxies of the accounts industry. Just like, you know, everyone's like, oh, Oculus is the biggest provider in the game. So they, you know, people just assume that because more people have them, they're going to be lower quality than maybe like ghost accounts or other sneakers account providers that are more limited and exclusive. So, but yeah, I guess really my main thing is I'm just constantly taken back and impressed with the entrepreneurial vision that some of these guys have.
Got a lot of entrepreneurs in this stuff, you know.
It's amazing, dude. It's so.
I mean,
cool.
You think about who invented the idea of a cook group, you know, and who came up with that name. Like it was obviously someone that had that kind of
that hustle, exactly,
to make that a reality, you know.
And speaking of cook groups, I want to talk about the anti-cook group, Soul Savvy. I say anti-cook group, they act similar to a cook group, but they're anti-reseller. Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's hilarious. People meme them super hard because it's like, dude, if you're not giving any type of information or resources for people to resell the shoes or get multiples, then what are they doing? Just telling people to enter Nike, dropping raffle links, maybe ATC links from a monitor. But even then, still, like, I'm sure, are they scraping website? Like, it's just morally inconsistent with their stance that they claim to have, I feel. But
I don't know enough about them to really speak to it, but yeah, I mean, I feel like the definition of a cook group is resellers, right?
And they don't really,
the whole purpose, kind of.
It is. They don't call themselves a cook group. So I'll tell you, like,
but they're like a Slack server, right? So it's like people pay to be in there.
Exactly, subscription-based Slack server. So they're allowed to get paid, but their members aren't. Basically, like the members can pay them their $30, but if a member talks about reselling a shoe, then they kick them and ban them for real. That's literally what they do. It's silly. It's basically the pitch. The business model is, hey, we're an anti-reseller community, like they say community instead of cook group, right, or whatever. But basically, it's a information-based community that encourages peer-to-peer retail acquisition, trades, just like basically a place for sneakerheads to dwell and exist and go for releases together. This is the pitch, and you know, it's a little more like aesthetically pleasing business model than like a reselling cook group. And as a result, they pitched it to, or they got approached by some venture capital, a venture capital company, and they essentially got they seeded like $12.5 million of venture capital investment money to grow their brand and expand the brand. The question everyone's asking: what the hell do you need $12 million for a group?
Or what are you gonna do with that?
Right.
You know?
Well, yeah. What are you gonna do with it exactly?
Right.
There's really nothing from their group application as far as like the Slack group that I know of. Maybe like a heavy marketing agenda. I would think a really heavy marketing campaign. The most expensive vertical I've heard from their business model is that they're essentially planning to launch a peer-to-peer marketplace It's going to be a peer-to-peer marketplace, anti-reseller that encourages like trading and bartering and stuff. It's essentially a anti-reseller peer-to-peer marketplace for sneakerheads all over the world. Just like anything else, though, like how if they were able to get that off the ground and really start this thing and get some traffic on there, get people moving shoes on there, you know, for retail. Resellers are just going to weasel their way into that, bro. Like, it's literally a matter of time until people get alts and they get in there.
Who's going to go on the marketplace and say, sure, you can have this Yeezy for retail?
Yeah.
Like, that's just not...
It doesn't make sense.
Most things are money and power.
That's what I'm saying.
Everybody is going to try to make money or obtain power.
And the thing is, bro, we're in the day and age, StockX has so streamlined reselling that it could be Joe Schmo down the street, like your neighbor that's been hounding you for a PS5. When he finally hits one, there's a thought that's going to cross his head. Should I sell this on StockX? Even if he's been trying to get it for months and months and months. So it's same with Yeezys. Dude, you think a normal Joe Blow hits Grateful Dead dunks on sneakers, you think and can make $1,000? People have bills to pay, man. I think a good amount of normal people are reselling stuff. So for that reason alone, I just can't see any real length in. Or I just can't see how that $12 million is not going to be just completely
time
wasted.
will tell. I think. I don't think we have enough information as far as like what they're planning to do.
What they're going to do.
That almost sounds like there's a software project in the works or some sort of new platform. Because, you know, how's a Slack group going to utilize 12.5?
No, it is a new platform. So this peer-to-peer marketplace would be separate from their Slack group. Exactly. Yep. But it's all in the same, like basically like bringing the power back to the sneakerheads. It's goofy, bro. It's
who's gonna? Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna see shoes going for retail there.
That marketplace would have to almost be connected with like Nike or other retailers, and it's
regulate.
If somehow maybe you were to like sell your Yeezy on the platform, you got like points or something toward releases of Nike or Yeezy product.
It's like
they have to incentivize that somehow.
By the time a normal person like your neighbor next door has even heard about their platform or marketplace, StockX is going. I mean, like the industry as a whole is going to be that much more streamlined and mainstream as far as reselling goes.
Yeah,
so
it's hard to see the value proposition in that.
That's it.
They would have
as far as the $30 a month.
Yeah.
Are people paying for the community or more?
It's just hard to see what they're going to do with that, or where's the benefit?
Yes, because a lot of the information that you would think is being provided by, from everything I've heard about what they actually provide, like raffle links, sneaker reminders, stuff like that. Like, dude, follow Soul Links on Twitter and turn on notifications. You know what I mean? Or sneaker Twitter.
Not hard to get.
Yeah, exactly. Another big big headline, big topic recently that was definitely it's pretty funny, pretty ironic is Kanye West suing Walmart. Did you guys hear about this? Yeah. So Kanye West is officially suing Walmart. My theory, it's retaliatory. It's in response to Walmart suing Kanye for that logo a couple months ago. Do you guys remember that? I don't actually know if that's the case, but it's
he had
ironic.
Some sort of new logo I think that they were going to roll out for when the foam runners I think happened, or one of the newer shoes, and Walmart challenged him on it because they said it looked like it, which I thought was really silly. I saw the pictures and I was like, that's super subjective.
It was like sunbeams, but with dots making up the sunbeams.
The only thing I saw that was similar was like it was circular.
The sun pattern. It was that sunbeam pattern.
But
similar.
It was. I mean, the colors weren't there. It was. I mean, I just thought it was super petty. I'm surprised Walmart would go after something like that.
It's ridiculous. We'll put it up on screen so you guys can see what we're referencing. But if memory serves, I want like Walmart logo is obviously like the 7/8 sided like sunbeams, and then this Kanye logo was similar shape, but it was black and white. But they were like the sunbeams rays were made up with like black dots. So
yeah, it was like dots. It wasn't like these single lines. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was totally different. Strange.
What's up with this Kanye lawsuit though? For the okay, so yeah, why you can speak to it, Brian, because you had actually first showed me this. Why is Kanye suing Walmart like right now?
Because they're selling fakes of his Yeezys on the site.
Okay.
And it's third-party sellers. It's not actually Walmart's not doing that, of course.
But they're facilitating.
But Walmart has really become almost like they're trying to sort of mimic Amazon, where they can allow all sorts of third-party sellers to come in.
Right.
And it allows more product to move through their system, and they get a cut of it. But as such, I mean, you'll see it on Amazon too. I'm I wouldn't be surprised if he goes after Amazon. Like, you can buy fake shoes, you know, but it's something you'd find on like DHgate. You know, like they're clearly fake. They look really bad.
Or they don't even say the right word. Like instead of Yeezy,
they call it something else, but it's obvious. You know, I mean, you'll find that with Supreme all the time. Someone will just make a T-shirt and just like silk screen the box logo on there.
Yeah,
like,
I wonder what the legal ramifications are. You have a platform where you allow people to sell product, but they're selling a product that's like a fake.
I'm sure there's a.
They have to be.
Amazon's been doing it for a long time. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some sort of loophole that they're utilizing there.
That reminds me of Silk Road. I mean, the guy who just had a platform. But he's in jail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What it reminds me of is like Wikipedia, you know, because they're like, oh, we're not, you know, we're just hosting people's comments. So what happens on Wikipedia is like, you know, maybe Vince's Wikipedia page says Vince is 9 feet tall and lives in, you know, some random place and whatever, and it'll say all that, and Wikipedia can't.
And it doesn't.
Well, but if there's like,
it doesn't say.
But if there's like libel, no, but I'm saying if there's like libel or something bad on your Wikipedia page, like they can't be held responsible for it.
I'm gonna have to find this page.
Yeah, but no, I'm saying it's maybe similar.
Everything's heavily edited though, you know. Yeah, it's just kind of like a cop out almost. You know?
Right, but they're like, oh, sorry, people edited it. We just host it. So maybe it's similar. My point in that is saying like it just reminds me. It's a similar like idea concept of like, oh, we're just hosting these third-party sellers. We can't dictate what they sell, how they sell it. Yeah.
Sure, they're
as long as it's not explosive, right?
I think Kanye's got a point. Yeah. One thing that kind of confused me is like I'm surprised Adidas didn't do this because they are Adidas shoes.
Right.
Adidas making the actual shoes.
That's true.
That's an interesting relationship, like Adidas and Kanye. You know, I'm sure Adidas is probably backing him on this and providing him with the tools he needs to, you know, do this. But
and maybe they don't want it to say Adidas is suing Walmart.
Kanye is such a big dog, dude. It's crazy.
Good point.
It's crazy when you think about just like how big Kanye is, man, and like he talks about he's in like the board meetings on Adidas and stuff. Bro, his influence on it, like at Adidas is they probably really listen to him a lot. That like give him that creative control that he's
taken the brand to a whole nother level.
Yes, he has.
You know, I mean, people, you know, I think didn't even used to give Adidas a second thought. It was all about Nike, you know. And we were talking about this, like Nike sort of launched the culture of sneakerheads and stuff, and we were talking about this over breakfast this morning. Like outside of Yeezys, like who's buying Adidas for like resell or hype,
or, other than the occasional like drip. Bad Bunny.
Well, they're trying,
Towley shoes on 420.
They're trying, but it's kind of hit or miss, and there's a lot of misses.
A lot of
like
misses.
They did the ninja shoes, you know. And those were just kind of ugly, you know. But
I'm curious to see the Gap stuff.
That'll be interesting.
I think that'll be fun.
Yeah. I think he's got a point, though. I mean, I don't know. This brings up a whole nother topic, though, of like fakes and replicas. And I mean, he's just scratching the surface with this. I don't know what his motives are. Yeah, maybe it's retaliatory because they came after him for the logo, which I think is petty. That could very well be the case. But, I mean, the rep industry is massive at this point.
Oh,
and
my
you're
God.
not going to stop it. You know, people are going to make knockoffs. They're going to try and flip them because you know, there's some people that don't care if it's, you know, original or not, you know, and they'll buy that stuff.
So one comment that one of our admins made to me this weekend was he was just telling me, he's like, yeah, man, like no one cares. No one, like people hate resellers so much that everyone's buying reps. He said like the girls in his school, like he's like his friends, girls that he knows, like they're beyond the point of buying on StockX. A lot of people, it's becoming more normalized for regular people that want a pair of kicks to not fund the resellers, but rather just say, screw it, I'm gonna buy the reps.
Nice pair of reps.
It's concerning. Reps are.
Well, also it's just so hard to tell.
I know.
Like if nobody knows, I'll just buy a rep.
I know.
I mean, crazy.
It is crazy, man.
What was the thing you were saying? They could do QR codes or something? Would that work?
I mean,
they'd have to have a massive database.
Doesn't Cause do something like that with QR codes on the boxes?
Oh, they might.
I think they
actually.
have unique.
I don't know enough about it.
Dude, I think Cause has unique QR codes on every single box.
I could see them maybe doing that.
Now,
Now I wanna look.
I don't
they
know.
need to start taking some sort of action. I think the
Yeah.
best way is to put like an RFID chip in there or
Yeah,
something.
right. The
you
radio
know?
frequencies.
So Nike sources out like their production. Nike's
Right.
like the brand, right?
They don't
source
make
out
shoes. They're a marketing
Exactly.
agency,
They
you know?
just find like the efficient labor and distribution contracts in
Right.
different countries and warehouses, and then they like lock those in. So maybe that's why they haven't pursued any RFID or QR code technology or anything like that yet.
a
But
lot of these reps are coming from like the
from
same
the
factory
same
too. You
I know. So it's almost like that. In my opinion, there needs to be there has to be a technical solution to this, because
I really think it comes back to the people that are providing the designs for this stuff, making this like the retailer, like
Yeah.
Nike, like Supreme, like Adidas. They have to come up with some way to kind of weed this stuff out, because it is really starting to hurt the market.
the
as a whole.
aftermarket.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I don't think I will
1000%.
ever, if my Travis ones get ripped in half tomorrow, I don't think I will ever buy another pair of Travis ones.
Yeah.
No matter who it comes
No matter
from.
where you get
Never.
them from.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, unless it's like a really close friend says he got them from, Nike or something. But yeah, I don't trust, I mean, the market is flooded.
Yep.
I don't know the percentage, but I'm sure a large percentage of the shoes that are out there
Yeah.
being sold right now are probably replicas.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I've seen them, and they're that close that like you can't tell.
Yep.
You know?
And the thing is, too, I still remember the stock numbers from those Travis Scott ones. It was like 118,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
Bro, I think I've physically seen with my own eyes 118,000 pairs of those Travis Scott ones, bro. There's a
Right.
billion of them out
Right,
there,
there's
whether
a
it's
lot.
like, so it's crazy. And you're
Yeah.
right. It certainly impacts the market in a negative way, and people should take that very seriously.
They got it. Yeah, I mean, it's not a difficult thing to do either. Like, just
Yep.
come up with a way to. I mean, it's almost like kind of what NFTs bring to the table. It's
This
like
is why my next shoe's a New Balance. Nobody's faking New Balances.
I don't know.
I don't know about that, man.
You think?
I think it
be
depends on the shoe.
surprised.
I think
Really?
that like a
You'd be
lot of the fake
surprised.
shoes are like Ultra Boost, Air Force Ones, stuff that like
Well,
Nike
the
and
way I
Adidas
say
top
that
it
is,
for
or the
sure.
reason I say that is, I think New Balances are made in the U.S.
okay.
So it might cut out that whole manufacturing.
Oh, depending on the like
Maybe,
those
yeah.
same warehouses. That makes sense.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's an interesting.
So I
I am gravitating towards New Balance.
It'll be my next
They
shoe.
are
That
super
Joe
good for
Fresh
you.
Goods
They're
shoe.
great for your
those
feet
new,
and legs.
Yeah.
I'm gonna butcher the name, but the last name, the Bemberries, the
Bemberry,
blue
yeah.
New Balances just
Yeah.
came out. If
Water
they,
be the
if they
guy?
put them up,
Those
yeah,
are sick.
those were.
I
really,
want those
really
in the Joe
clean
Fresh
shoe.
Goods.
Yep.
Really clean shoe.
At least one of the
I'm
two.
not a big fan of the Joe Fresh Goods. Not a big fan.
Did you like you had the first ones?
I had them,
And
yeah.
you didn't like them?
Well, I sold them. They were like a
Yeah.
size 4, so
Oh.
that would have been good for you. You could, yeah.
Size
Would've been
4.
good. Yeah.
Rock.
I should have given them to you.
Rock.
There was another. You guys had a funny story the other day. So before we all got together, I think it was just you guys in like a micro center. So the
Oh, this was funny.
Yeah.
So the topic I had written down, I had written down retailers becoming resellers, and it's moral when they do it, but it's evil if a private party does it, right? And my examples, I'll let you tell the story from Micro Center the other day. It was very interesting to me.
So we walked in and we came up to the 3080. There's a 3080. and
It's like a
two-
GPU department.
Yeah,
Yep.
3080 GPU. Like it's
Bunch of employees standing around, Micro Center
yeah.
guys.
And we're like, you guys selling this for $2,000? Like,
Yeah.
and I'm
3080
like, what's
Ti was
yeah,
$2,000,
because
yeah.
I was paying $2,000 for Founders Edition 3080s.
Yep.
So I knew they were jacking the price.
Right.
And I said, like, what's the retail on this? And some guy's like $1,200. And then we're like, oh, so you guys are just basically reselling it? And the guy at the counter goes, well, MSRP is more of a suggestion. And then Brian comes along and is like just telling the guy basically we're resellers. We bought
that.
Best Buy.
Yeah.
And then he's all pissed off like, oh, so you guys are the reason
You're
for
the
the
problem.
problem.
It's
and I'm like,
crazy.
you literally just said that it's more of a suggestion.
Yes.
We're literally just selling it at the market value.
Exactly.
Like I am willing to pay $2,000 for the card from somebody that gets it at retail because to me the value is $2,000.
That's it.
But-
Exactly.
So why are you mad at us for doing what you guys just did?
So
because you're a retailer, you can do it.
That's it.
Like,
Acknowledging.
That makes it okay.
Yeah. Oh, you
Like,
didn't have to work for that GPU, whereas the reseller did.
Yes. Acknowledging and adjusting your prices based on market prices is moral and understandable and good when they do it, but if a private party does it, it's price gouging.
Yeah.
They're a scalper. They deserve,
Well,
basically people hate it. So
people don't realize that like these resellers like us. I mean, we don't just decide to become a reseller. Like that's not our our morals or our motives. Like, it's the situations that produce this kind of stuff.
Exactly,
you know what I mean?
dude.
Like, these things don't just occur in a vacuum,
Yes.
right? Like, if we didn't exist, if GFNF didn't exist, and all these cook groups didn't exist, GPUs coming out with that level of supply and demand would produce groups going for this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, even if they're groups that start out as just friends going for GPUs,
Right.
because it's an under-optimized thing. The supply and demand of the GPUs combined with the crypto prices dictated that the aftermarket on these GPUs was going to be these prices no matter
Simple
what.
economics,
no matter
man.
who got them, whether it was Micro Center that got them and upped the price, or whether it was GFNF that got them and upped the price. It doesn't matter.
I think it really comes down to like simple economics versus like emotions.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
People just
The emotions,
people
man.
see me with, or people see one of our members with 30 GPUs, and they just can't have that. They can't take it.
They can't
you
take
know?
it. Or
Right.
or Walmart.
And-
Walmart's a great example. Walmart drops blaster boxes at $45 a box on some trash product. No one bats an eye. People are like, yeah, I copped one, whatever. And then, but
Right.
if a reseller posts a picture, God forbid, of blaster boxes like in volume, then he's the devil, even though he's making less than what Walmart's. I mean, the argument it's highly inconsistent, and I think that's kind of where like StockX is so benefit, like it just streamlined the buying process. Like it really, so as far as buying from resellers, setting a clearly defined market price and what have you, it's just
Right.
very interesting. The
It's-
Walmart
it's-
thing, didn't you have an experience with Walmart? Didn't they like screw you on something recently?
This is a big topic. I don't know. I think it's a little ridiculous. And basically, Walmart has, Walmart and Target have been taking different approaches to combating the sports card stuff.
Okay.
Where bots are getting all the stock, or there's fights in store.
Yep.
Right. So, like, at one point, Target, specifically Target, I think Walmart as well, were like, okay, we're going to start pulling all the stock from in store because it's too crazy. There's people fighting. There's people camping out. We can't have this. It's a bad look.
Yep.
Walmart basically started pricing out resellers on the cards
what they were
online.
doing.
So and it's kind of funny because they've made adjustments to all of these policies they have specifically over trading cards. So I'll give you some examples. So if you try to go return trading cards in store in Walmart right now, there's a giant sign behind every customer service desk that says trading cards are non-refundable. Final sale, no matter what it is, right?
Damn.
And which, yeah. The worst experience I had though was they've made adjustments to like their price matching and their return policy based on what's happening with these sports cards. So like for example, they dropped NFL Select blaster boxes probably like a month or two ago. And they've been doing this, for those that know, they dropped them at like $45.
Yeah.
The MSRP is $20. If you scan the product in store, you try to buy it in store, it's going to be $20. They can't raise the price in store, right? But they drop it at $45 online. They deliberately raise the price. And I wasn't running price check. I just said, whatever. It was a hot product at the time, so I said, let's just get them. And also, this had happened before. This has been a reoccurring thing.
Yeah.
This had happened before, and I was able to get the price adjusted after the fact. So
remember that.
I saw this, and I was like, yeah, I placed a big order of NBA Prism where they had done the same thing with the hanger boxes. They
Yeah.
listed them at 40, and I was able to get a price adjustment after the fact. So
Right.
I bought all these Select blasters at 45. Well, like 30 minutes later, they're still restocking. They dropped the price to 20 to the MSRP. So I got a few at 20. Right?
Earth? Yeah,
You following
okay.
me?
Yeah, I'm following you.
So then after the fact, I try to contact customer service and go in store and all the different avenues of customer service.
Yeah.
And basically their policy is, one, they will not price match anything in store.
Okay.
Even if it's like the identical product, identical MSRP, which is ridiculous. I mean, they're basically saying, yeah, you can get it cheaper in store. Half the price, more
Right.
than half the price
Literally.
cheaper. And they won't do any price adjustments with like past prices.
Yeah.
It's basically like they just say prices are subject to change, right? So so I said, well, I have an order here where I bought them for 20, but then I bought them for 45. Can you drop these 45 down to 20?
Yeah.
They're basically like, no. And I'll
That's
tell you what, like
ridiculous. That is ridiculous.
any other product, I don't think they would care one bit.
Not
you
even,
know, I
yeah.
mean, if we're talking about like some shirts or some socks or something, it'd be like,
towels.
whatever. Yeah,
Towels.
whatever.
Yeah,
We got tons of
seriously.
this, no big deal. But I think they've specifically defined these policies around sports cards just to screw the resellers, to say, no, we're not doing any refunds no matter what. No price adjustments. And if you go and look at like the return policy and the price adjustment stuff on the website, it shows that it was like recently changed, like the same day that the select stuff happened.
That's so stupid.
Last time I checked. And I went in store to try and do the thing too. Remember I told you they had the sign in the back, and the manager told me that he actually, what I was going to try to do was take in the blasters that I bought for $45 and say, hey, can I return these in store and then just let me buy them back? Because if you scan them in store, the MSRP is $20.
$20, yeah.
I mean, this is like fraud, man. This is just, they're scamming people, honestly.
Literally.
It's a scam. I mean, there's some people that don't live near a Walmart that want the cards that have to buy them online, but they're sold at $45. You know, they're sold at
literally
2.5x.
Resale sometimes.
2.5x. Yeah. They're pricing us out. So anyways, I went in store and like the manager told me that he himself had tried to do the same thing and he got in trouble for it.
Seriously?
Yeah, he got like someone from corporate contacted him and he got in trouble for it.
No way. So they're
Yeah.
They're watching
taking it
for these
very,
policies
very
to be
seriously.
violated. That's crazy, dude.
It's just I don't know where these companies like just get off on this kind of stuff. I mean, we could dive into the whole Target business, but at the end of the day, you know, sports cards when it comes to Walmart and Target, we're talking about 1/100th of 1/100th of a percent of their bottom line.
Exactly.
You know, they're not making any money off this for the most part.
Yep.
Compared to everything else they're doing.
Dude,
Yet,
they make more on hand towels than they do on sports cards.
exactly.
For sure.
Target,
Yes,
for sure.
Definitely.
For sure. Yet Target now has like a team and a department and company policies and like they're upgrading all this bot protection on their site, all for a few sports card drops.
Right. That are a dime a dozen, or not a dime a dozen.
I gotta
few
think,
and far between. Yeah.
If someone that works at Target is watching this, I gotta think that at some point there's going to be someone from the corporate level that's going to take a look at what this department is doing
and how much they're spending,
and just flat out say, "What the hell is this?
Right.
We're dropping all this money, and it's not even helping the bottom line. This isn't even like a core part of our business.
Right.
You know, it's not even part of our business model. We're not making any money here. We're losing money. And what's going on? You know.
Also, I think like there would be.
I hope someone's watching this.
Exactly. Well, I also think like their normal customers, their general consumer for Target, Walmart, they're not like the guys that are getting pissed off is like, I'm never gonna shop at Target again. Like those aren't your
they
normal
don't even shop there anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll tell you what.
Exactly.
I'll tell you what. Those people don't even fucking exist, man.
Dude,
they don't even
seriously,
exist.
They're still
There's
gonna
no
go there
one
to get their
doing that.
essentials.
There's no one doing that.
Preach, dude. I agree 1,000%.
What? I mean, what do they think they're gonna accomplish by doing this?
I think retailers being judge, jury, and executioner as far as like reselling in the aftermarket is literally the stupidest thing, and it's just goofy.
Like I said, emotions, simple economics, man. Like, what do they think they're gonna do? You know?
Right.
I'll tell you what, straight up. I think someone at Target has a vendetta against me.
Yeah.
After what we've just done to their site on the past couple releases, man.
I would too.
I don't know.
If I
don't
worked at
know
Target,
if
I
people
would
are
have a
watching what's
vendetta.
happening on Twitter, but we have been absolutely plowing Target consistently for 2 months when no one else has.
I think same
Hashtag
with Walmart
ad.
too, because they were pissed off about the PlayStations.
Yes,
they were.
yes.
They were so
they were upset about
pissed.
the PlayStation.
So mad.
And now we see Target adding all these different levels of bot protection, which I know for a fact costs millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And who knows how much they're paying in development costs to change the configuration of their mobile app and their site. For what? For a 10-minute sports card drop that happens every other week?
Yep.
That nets them no profit.
No profit.
I mean, you know what?
And
These big companies, man, there's departments. You know, when I used to work for a big oil company, and there were essentially companies within the company. Right? I mean, that's how these things are structured. And all you really have to show for your stuff is the bottom line.
Yes.
How much are you adding to the business? What sort of value are you bringing to the business? I'm sorry, but I would love to be in the meeting where whoever's on this team is trying to show like, hey, here's what we're bringing to the business this quarter.
And this is our budget.
Because I guarantee it's dog shit.
Yes, definitely. Well, and they're just spending.
Excuse my language.
They're just spending, right? Cool. I want one corporate entity that
That's
made
my
a big
rant for the show right there.
I love it, and that was a good rant.
You've heard this rant. Like I've been talking to you guys for a few weeks, and I've probably gone on it like 2 or 3 times.
I'm
like
pro
that one,
I'm
'cause
pro
I don't
Target
like 'em.
rants. But I will say this, one corporate entity that made a big change recently that is actually going to help like the industry and some resellers and collectors is eBay made a big change to their sports card return policy. So basically the way it worked before, as a seller, even if you specified on your listing no returns, eBay would still force you to accept returns from the buyer within a 30-day window. That's their policy for all products. It's a 30-day window of forced returns, even if you have a no return policy on your listing. So what was occurring during in the sports car market would, people would buy up a bunch of like Luka cards prior to the playoffs kicking off, and then if Luka's just going on a run and just an absolute tear and his cards are going up, then they keep them, they take the profits, whatever. But if he just gets eliminated on the first round and his cards get cut in half, then he returns them. He forces the return on the seller within that 30-day window. Super messed up. It was a huge problem.
It's getting worse too as more people are entering the industry.
Exactly.
The more people that get into it, the more scummy
behavior. Yep.
Yeah.
So
becoming much more prevalent.
Big props to eBay for finally recognizing that and taking the necessary steps, because now that 30-day window has been brought down to a 3-day window, which obviously as far as like player performance, playoffs go, like that's not 3 days isn't really enough for the market to take a drastic turn on many players.
I almost wonder if in the meeting they said, should we go to full-on authentication like sneakers and authenticate these boxes, or this other option which they've done, 30 to 3 days. I almost think that they're gonna, if the market continues, if there's this much product being moved, I almost wonder if they'll go to authentication just like they have with sneakers. To compete with StockX, who we know is taking a large amount of their business.
And they know it.
They authenticate, and the buyer's not worried.
Exactly.
So I almost think that this is a Band-Aid until they enact what probably they will do, which is authentication.
Yep.
I agree 100%. I think that eBay is fully aware that StockX is gaining ground on them. They're catching up on them as far as sports cards. Like
other marketplaces too,
they're losing talent.
Not just StockX.
eBay's losing talent to StockX.
Yes.
They are direct competitors.
They are direct competitors at this point.
1,000%.
This is statistics. I don't even know if I'm supposed to know this, but this is a statistic I'm definitely gonna say because.
What does that mean?
I mean, it was a statistic. It's like it's not published anywhere. You know what I mean?
Garrett sits in like the eBay board meetings.
Yeah.
Now we're bringing in Garrett to consult from GFNF.
No, I've told you guys this though. This blows my mind every time I think about it. A year ago, for every 100 boxes of sealed wax that were sold on eBay, there were 6 sold on StockX.
Oh, this is interesting, yeah.
Today, for every 100 boxes of sealed wax sold on eBay, there are 60 sold on StockX. StockX is on their tail. That was a few months ago. StockX is on their tail. So eBay, I believe, they're like, hey, let's like actually listen to what consumers and sellers and buyers want in the sports card industry. Let's incentivize sellers to sell on eBay rather than leaving them open to be screwed over like they were prior.
All they've done is come closer to their competitor, but they're not there yet. They're not authenticating.
StockX is great for buying and selling sealed wax. Dude, if you're just like, think about a sports card store. If you owned a sports card store, where would you buy sealed wax? StockX for modern sealed wax is the consistently cheapest prices rather than trying to snipe eBay listings. And then also like the shipping process, the order process, it's all efficient. It's streamlined. It's
you don't
good.
have to talk to anybody.
Dude,
you don't have to handle
no bartering
with like shipping, weird shipping.
StockX is going to handle it. Yeah.
StockX is awesome.
I would say, we were talking about this earlier as well. I would say StockX, I think it was just a matter of getting recognition. When they started selling sports cards,
the hobby,
a lot of people didn't even know it.
That's very true.
We knew it because we were doing sneakers and stuff, but StockX was really just a sneakers and like hype beast
cause,
site. Right, stuff like that. But now they're starting to get a lot more recognition. It doesn't surprise me at all that we see that number go up, by tenfold or whatever.
Yeah.
But I would say, and I said this before, like, if you want to buy sealed wax, the best place to buy it is StockX.
Yes.
And as a seller, I'm kind of against that because the prices are really low and you're not going to make as much on StockX.
Of course.
And I know we have a ton of members that will just go dump it on StockX for profit, and nothing against that, but
which is fine.
There's places to make more profit for sure if you go to directly to a breaker or something like that. But you can pretty much guarantee that I mean, I don't think I've ever even heard of a case where there's been like fake sealed wax or a sealed wax product that's been it's much trickier to try and do that than a rep pair of shoes, right?
Yeah.
Not to mention, like, who's even doing that?
Yep.
You know, I mean, that's kind of a new thing. Like
fakes, it's interesting. Fakes like are here in the sports card market. There are fake cards. There's like fake, usually fake
slabs.
individual cards, fake slabs. And fake
Slabs
cards.
has been a problem.
Sometimes you'll see. I want to say there was a big grading company recently that got some flack for grading a completely fake card. It was just a fake card. Yeah, so they exist. But as far as sealed wax goes,
it's a good place to buy it, man.
Yeah, that outer layer on that outer film on the boxes is like watermarked. Sometimes it'll be like little QR things. So it's legit. StockX is awesome for buying sealed wax.
And I mean, if you're like a buyer that's watching this and you're kind of hesitant, I'll just say I've had StockX send my stuff back for like what I deem the dumbest reason, you know, but hey, I mean, they're obviously paying attention, you know? Yeah, if there's a little ding, and who knows if it happened during shipping, like, if I have a damaged box, I always just break that open anyways.
Me too.
I only ship the
It's
good
a luck
ones.
thing.
One of the most interesting things that I saw about StockX getting into the card thing was when I shipped my Mint my coins to the US Mint, they shipped them back in a StockX PSA branded box.
Oh,
have
really?
You seen those?
Oh, yes, I have the PSA branded boxes.
My coins in a StockX PSA box.
US Mint did?
Yes.
That's crazy.
No, after I graded them.
After
when
you
I graded
them?
the coins. Pay to grade them, get a 70, 69, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, so the grading agency sent them back?
Yeah.
I know PSA is I know StockX and PSA are integrally working together.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Very similar industry.
Yeah.
Dude,
not,
StockX is so aggressive,
PSA's got to scale up, man.
I know.
Got to scale up.
I know.
What are they doing, you know?
They're supposed to open up in July, and I know a lot of people are holding out hope that they're going to open out. They're going to open up multiple types of submissions at like decent price points, but I'm curious to see like what the backlog is when they do reopen. I'm really curious.
I mean,
one of our admins said it's like literally a little room with guys grading all day.
Right. Yes,
and he said they're backlogged like over a million.
Millions of cards. Infrastructurally, like people that people
totally
might think of PSA like a giant warehouse.
No one's winning there, right? I mean, they're just like unnecessarily hurting the market.
Right.
For what? I don't know. I mean, are they?
They could hire like 500 employees.
That's what I'm saying. You know, there's obviously people at other grading agencies doing this.
And
stuff,
why couldn't it be seasonal work?
Train
some
people
hire
up.
These guys.
I do know that StockX is hiring. Like I think maybe always. Like PSA is always hiring. Like I think there's just a permanent ad out, just like hiring graders. But I don't know many of the details of like their staffing process, training process.
Maybe
stuff like
they're
that.
really picky. I don't know.
But I've been told the same thing, that like you think PSA, it's one of the biggest names in the hobby. You think just massive corporation, massive company, tons of money. But it's just like a small little sweaty back room with like 7 dudes just slaving away, grading cards.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it really is. So, the awesome topics, big stuff in the industry. Let's hit this week's leaks. A few upcoming collaborations, shoes releases that are either rumored, confirmed, and we got some pictures of that I think we can discuss. First one is going to be the Virgil Abloh Louis Vuitton Nike. You guys saw those?
Oh, I saw it.
Yeah. So how many variations of shoot? Like there's like
I just saw like 10 more that I haven't even seen before.
That's what I'm saying.
And they're doing the Air Force One highs.
Sweet.
The highs look sweet.
What?
People are saying, I saw some people joking, this is going to be like the Alibaba, collab because it's going to be so high. I mean, just think about how much Louis replicated and how much Nike's replicated. Like this is like the mecca of the holy grail
I think
of
off-white shoes are generally harder to fake, though. I would say there's so much detail. There's so much to mess up. But yeah,
for sure. These are crazy though, man. Everything I've seen, all the pieces are.
Nice.
It's definitely really exciting. So that's gonna be dope. Excited to see. Curious to see what like the retails on some of these things are. I wonder if they like just keep everything towards the Nike retail on the shoes, or if they go primo.
Doubtful. Look at Dior.
True.
Wasn't Dior like 4 or 5X or something?
Yeah, that's true. Or it was
3,000.
It was 1,000. It was
from what I've seen,
retail?
anytime kind of like a standard, retailer partners with a luxury brand, you're going to see the price go up. Supreme, Louis Vuitton, look at that.
True. Very true.
These luxury brands aren't going to let their logo go on a shoe for
$100.
Air Force Ones are $100.
Yeah.
No
way.
way.
Versace
Someone's stepping
can't.
in there.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
You guys see the Off-White Jordan 2? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think
that I feel like is almost like a collector's piece, man. Who's gonna walk around with like a crumbling sole?
Yeah, they look crazy with the
cool.
red and white. I couldn't rock them. They're definitely not my style.
I don't like Jordan 2s, but they're cool.
Yeah, no, I don't
like
think a lot of people are big fans of the Jordan 2 silhouette.
When was the last Jordan 2 release?
Never.
Yeah.
One of my dudes actually mentioned, well, it was one of our admins, Aiden. He mentioned that he thinks that he's just one of my guys, but he mentioned that.
Roast him, or we haven't really been roasting him that much.
Oh yeah, we got a few minutes.
Hold on. So he said that he believes that Nike is like pushing the Jordan 3 heavy right now. Like we saw them push the 4, and now he thinks that they're pushing the Jordan 3 heavy as far as like some of the recent collaborative efforts and stuff like that. Yeah, some
fragment.
Yeah, exactly. Some nice collabs, some nice colorways, and so the Jordan 2. Obviously, I know it's different than the Jordan 3, but as far as shape of the silhouette, like the lower half of the Jordan 2, it is very much reminiscent to a Jordan 3. They're similar, so I don't know. It just made me think that yeah, I think foam posits. Nike's pushing foam posits. I think we're seeing a resurgence of foams. I think we're seeing obviously we saw the resurgence of 4 hype, Jordan 4 hype over like the last 6-7 months. They've kind of allowed the 1 hype. They've been doing like completely crappy colorways. They've allowed the 1 hype to taper off. It's all intentional. Nike's next level, bro.
They're a marketing company, and I think they're doing great things. I mean, we've seen this for at least the past 2 years. They're being strategic with, they're letting these influencers collab with some, for lack of a better word, dead silhouettes to try and revive the sales. You know what I'm saying?
They get Supreme on it.
Other than whoever handles the fucking dunks.
The dunks.
They killed the dunks.
Oh, the dunks. Yeah, but we talked about...
They have strategy with the dunks. Like, what they're doing with dunks is... I don't understand all of it, but there's definitely a strategy to it. I mean,
they brought it back, and now look, they're all selling out all the time. They're making tons of money off of it. But I would say, we talked about this earlier. I was never a fan of the dunk. I was a fan of the SB dunk.
SB dunks,
and that they've left untouched largely, which I think is the way to go.
It's pretty.
Right?
It's kind of cool that they've been able to do that.
The SB dunks have always been historically like the craziest collabs.
They've almost kind of, I guess in a way, they've almost kind of made it seem like the dunk is just this normal kind of GR shoe, and the SB dunk is like
for the
yeah, that's what it is.
That's probably
and they're just crank out colorways of the Nike dunk.
That was probably like their macro strategy. You know what I mean? Was let's make billions from the dunk, and let's use the SB to market that dunk. You know what I mean? So
they're different shoes though.
Yes,
they're largely different.
Largely
shoes. People don't realize, but the tongue is very thick on the SB,
and the quality, the entire ground up quality on SBs is generally a lot superior.
They're skateboarding shoes, so they have a lot of padding on the inside. Whereas a dunk is more just kind of like a tennis sneaker, almost, if you will.
Yeah.
We were in a resale shop the other day, and there a bunch of the recent dunk releases were all lined up.
So many.
And I'm just like, bro, they all look like plastic. They're just like big hunks of plastic.
Really
like
bad quality.
Yeah, exactly.
Really
and then like you
quality.
contrast that, I ended up, I was like, a grail of mine was the Cliver dunks. I finally bought the Cliver SB dunks.
So bad.
I wanted those for a long time, and finally got them. But you look at like the quality difference between them. Trash. It's like a grail, dude. They're so beautiful. But the
I love the Sean
difference
Cliver.
it's night and day. It's literally night and day.
Yeah.
But
my take on those is like, if you're gonna go with a Cliver dunk like that, you might as well just go with the Strangeloves.
Dude, I'm like powder blue is way for me. It's like way more a color I wear than like the pinks.
I wanted the Clivers at one point, but I think they're kind of overrated personally.
I love them.
Hey, to each his own,
Did you see the MCAs are gas? Those synth Yeezys.
Like
I love it. No heat today, but the Fragment Sakai collab on. Did you guys see this?
Really disappointed with Fragment, man, just in general.
Well, yeah, the Fragment Travis Nike collab or Jordan collab a little bit.
Well, the dunks they just did, I thought were butt ugly.
Yeah.
The purple dunks.
Oh, yeah. Awful.
Very true.
I mean, who's making these calls,
Did you see these though? The Fragment Sakai? They're pretty dope, dude. So it's I think they called them like they called it like the Fragment Sakai like classic waffle or something like that.
Maybe. I saw them at one point. I just can't see it in my mind right now.
Remember the first Sakai Nike collab on the waffles, and they were just fire. Everyone loves them.
Yeah.
It's that same silhouette, not the new
LD
ugly
waffle.
one. Yeah, it's the LD waffle, so that original silhouette that everyone likes. 2 colorways. One of them's like a wolf gray, and one of them's like a deep blue. They're sick. Both of they're really clean.
Okay.
They're really clean. I don't think they're gonna go as they're not as like unique or crazy as the first ones, but they're very, very clean. And I think that they're gonna do well.
See, when I think Fragment, I think of the Jordan 1 they did, which was just a huge Jordan 1 and
legendary.
had so much hype. And now I just see kind of what they're following it up with, and it's like, meh.
Yeah,
not a big fan.
Lack of effort as far as the design goes.
But it goes back to what I said earlier. I mean, Fragment is 100% a hype beast thing, I would say. And, I mean, look at what they're doing strategically with Travis Scott and Fragment. I'm not talking necessarily about the collab that they're doing, but, you know, Travis Scott did a Jordan 6.
Yep.
He did an Air Max 270, a really weird Air Max shoe.
Yeah.
He did another weird one that I can't think of. Remember when he did that, like, Jordan 33 or whatever?
Yeah.
Way back?
Oh, yeah.
Total
I remember
performance
that.
silhouette.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Fragment, you know, doing a Jordan 3 as well.
Yep.
You know, I mean, I think they're strategically trying to market these silhouettes because I'd be curious to see the numbers that, you know, what kind of bump they see from the GR pairs after something like this releases.
They were going to do a foam pause, I remember thinking that a few months ago. With like
that's probably.
I bet we'll see some
Off-White
foam
or
posit collabs
Travis.
soon, dude.
Yeah.
I'm gonna clip this and post it in the future once they start doing foam posit collabs because they're pushing that silhouette. It's pretty obvious, dude. I would kill to be a fly on the wall in one of those like high up Nike board meetings. Bro. Those people are smart. They are next level, and I'm here for it. The last thing I have on this week's leaks, not so much a hype shoe or anything, but did you guys see the Travis Scott Dior collaboration?
I didn't like any of it.
Yeah, I didn't.
Not a big fan either.
Exactly. Not a lot of stuff that I would personally
Travis
rock.
needs to change it up, man. He's been doing the same thing over and over again, I feel like.
Right.
You know?
The one piece from that collab, did you guys see like the Pop Smoke tee that he did? It's pretty awesome, and it makes sense of a Pop Smoke Dior tee like that. It was pretty dope, legendary. R.I.P. Pop Smoke. But the collab as a whole, I don't think there's a lot of wearable pieces, and it's probably going to be all priced in Dior prices. So it's not for me. But we love collaboration. Just more people talking. It's always good for the industry. So that's it. That's all I've got.
That's it.
I really appreciate always having the three of us on the show. So
Glad to be back, man.
Cool. All right, guys. Till next time.
Yep. Cool.
Peace. Thank you.